You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
This is TruthFunders Radio on the Inception Radio Network, a weekly audio safari that features the newest in paranormal discoveries while highlighting the latest and not to be missed TruthFunder.com projects. For truth seekers and true believers, this week's TruthFunders starts now.
Greetings, bonjour, hola, welcome, and hello. This is the TruthFunders live radio show. I am your host for this weekly look at TruthFunders.com and everything that is paranormal, metaphysical, universal, and essentially good. It is about the light here. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can, by the way, listen to TruthFunders on the Inception Radio Network by downloading their app. You can grab that on iTunes, the App Store, or the Android Market. You can also listen through Roku. It is available there, or you can listen live by going to inceptionradio.com/listen-live. TruthFunders airs every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we encourage you to tune in for the live show and interact with us as we do the show each and every week, as opposed to just tuning in for the podcast, which I know a vast majority of you do. I'm looking at you. See? You. I know you. Hey, Mark, what's going on? Mark Schwartz,
hey.
Everybody.
What's shaking, Art? How you doing today? I'm trying to survive like the 110-degree heat that is Northern California today.
Are you guys going through the heat right now? It's been pretty bad here in SoCal too. I'm not sitting in an air-conditioned room at the moment, pleasantly just kind of wearing a long-sleeve shirt, not really being too worried about it. So.
Well, I have the fan on. I have shorts, which I never wear, a short-sleeve shirt, and the fan isn't doing justice. It's still burning up in my place. And a quick note to everybody, you know, we here at TruthFunders Radio do have mascots, the TruthFunders mascot, which is our dog. So I like to warn everybody out there that has animals or dogs or pets, when it is crazy and it's 115 degrees outside or 110, for especially those people living in Arizona, make sure when you're walking your dogs on the pavement that their paws don't get burned, because that pavement is hot. And that's my PSA.
That's a good thing to point out. It's true. And that they have, like, fresh water as well, because we have, you know, in my home, we have, Christ, dude, how many
animals?
God,
you have so many animals.
It's a zoo. There's quadruple the amount of animals than there are to people at my place. So
you have chinchillas, you have dogs,
chinchillas, dogs,
snakes,
cats,
turtles.
There's those turtles, there's no snakes.
When I visited you a couple months ago, you were even giving water to bees, little bees that were on the side of the sidewalk.
That's true. They were thirsty, so it's always important to remember to give them fresh water. And if the water's been sitting out in the sun all day, guess what? It's hot. That water is hot. The animal doesn't want to drink it, so you should probably give them a cool drink of water as well. That is our TruthFunders animal PSA for the day. What the hell are we talking about?
Nothing to do with the paranormal, but
no, nothing
dogs
whatsoever.
are cool.
Well, I mean, we did learn last week when we talked to our ghost friends that dogs are funny and humorous, and cats are, you know, assholes, essentially.
Yeah.
That was a fun show. That was a fun show last week.
Yeah, that was a fun show. They really... those guests were great, and for anybody who's listening right now, you can go back and listen. We talked to some pretty amazing people that got rid of ghostly attachments. They lived out in San Diego. They also had the ability to speak to the animals, and if you ever want to know what a dog is thinking, well, you probably can figure it out. But
is this you, or is this our guest that's making the noise?
It's definitely not me. That's not me. I think that's our guest. Our guest might want to mute his Skype.
Hey, guest, if you could please mute your Skype for the time being, that would be wonderful, because it sounds like we're cooking in an Italian kitchen while doing the show. That was pretty good, though. We'll bring our guest on in a moment. No, it's not Chuck E. Cheese. He is not our guest, but that would be good. Hey, I have a quick Star Wars trivia question for you here that I was just reading before the show began. Do you want to ask?
Bring it. Well,
I know you're a big fan. And by the way, if you don't know the answer to this, maybe somebody in the chat room might. I don't know. Maybe we could give away our TruthFunders free swag to the person that gets the trivia question right, if they so choose to answer it. What was was the original name for Yoda, according to George Lucas? Do you know? Do you know what Yoda's original name was?
Oh God, I have no idea.
It's weird.
I don't even know.
It's super weird, man. It's
Is it
gonna
like
be
Grundle?
no. It's a more traditional name actually, but it's a name that we associate to something else like entirely. Like you hear this name and you go, "That's from that piece of entertainment." You know what I mean? But that's only because in the 90s it became popular. So prior to that, in the 70s, when Yoda was being looked at, that name would have not been so immediately synonymous with something else. But
So what was it?
Buffy.
Buffy. Yeah, it's hard to imagine, learning the Force from a little guy named Buffy.
That was the original name of Yoda, according to George Lucas.
Where did you find out that trivia?
Reddit. I was just cruising around Reddit. Do you ever read Reddit? Reddit's a great place for checking out.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate sometimes, I think. But yeah,
it can
cool.
it can be a little difficult to get around, but if you really take the time to look at it, it can be good.
Didn't Art Bell do like a Reddit, like a tell-all Reddit?
Did he do an Ask Me Anything? They're called Ask Me Anythings. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if he did or not.
I'm pretty sure he did. I think he didn't ask me anything before he came back to life.
Has his show started yet?
Yeah, it sure has. It's pretty fun too. I mean, it's not on an Inception Radio Network though, and you should listen to only shows on Inception Radio Network. So
to be honest,
throw that out there.
To be completely honest with you, I have not heard the new Art Bell show yet. I have only been listening to shows on the Inception Radio Network. I have not heard a damn thing about this new Art Bell show or what it's called or anything. I should check that out at some point. So anything else going on? You're not going to be here next week. You're going to be in Hawaii, yeah, for your honeymoon?
I am, on my honeymoon. On my real big honeymoon. We went on a mini moon to Mendocino. Now we're off to the islands. So there we go. I'm excited.
And are you going to do any UFO like scouting while you're in Hawaii? I know that there's...
Of course.
I can be
Are you kidding?
UFOs.
I'm going to be sky watching every night.
Are you really?
My wife is going to be like, "What, Mark, come to bed," and I'm going to just be staring at those stars.
Hey, look, man, it's really easy to see all the stars out there in Hawaii. I mean, it's you don't have all the lights and what have you like you have here in the mainland. So
I know,
you should be out
exciting.
there looking up into the sky every night. You should at least give us a live report, even if you're not here next week for the entire show. You should at least call in and give us a honeymoon.
Yeah, we might have to add aloha to our intro.
We might have to. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'll tell you, we might look at the possibility of something that we could maybe look at, doing. I'm not sure. All right, let's bring our guest on. Clearly, we have not a whole lot to BS about this week, so let's move into our guest.
Yeah. So our guest today, we have a very, very interesting guest, and he came to us by way of email. Every once in a while we talk about some really, really incredible things at Truth Funders, specifically, aliens, UFOs, ghosts, the unknown. And a lot of you out there might have heard a few times a little bit about the idea that there's music and people are creating music, like Led Zeppelin created music, and that they felt that it was brainstormed and brought here. And it came to them in a dream, and it came to them through aliens. There's a lot of stories with a lot of bands who say aliens kind of came down and put the thoughts and the ideas into their head. They didn't actually write their music. It was written for them, and they were just the vessel. So
the music was implanted in a weird sort of way into their consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. So today on Truth Funders, we have a guest who... he has a band, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about his band. His name is Kevin Estrella, and I might be pronouncing that last name wrong. It
probably
might be Estrella.
Kevin Estrella. It's probably Kevin Estrella. I don't know any Mexicans that live in Canada, so this is already super weird for me. I mean, his last name is Estrella. That's totally Hispanic last name, yet he's in Canada.
But he's in Canada, so it could be Estrella. So let's ask him.
It's Estrella. You've got it.
Oh wow, it actually is Estrella.
Last names are never the way we actually pronounce it. Their last names are difficult.
Your lineage, your heritage is somewhere further south to begin with, because that's such a Latin name here, at least in Southern California.
Yep, that's because, as I said, my father's he's a San Francisco native, so that's Estrella's the perfect pronunciation. That's you got it.
Excellent. So, Kevin, tell us a little bit about yourself and the audience listening right now. Tell them, who are you? What is it you do? And what makes your band extra special?
I'm Kevin Estrella, and I am Pyramids on Mars, music from the mystical red planet. I am very much like guitarist Joe Satriani as far as my style goes.
Surfing with the alien, dude.
That's right, exactly. In fact, that was the album that changed my life, and I decided after hearing that album, okay, I want to be able to play like Joe. Thus began years and years of woodshedding and practicing so I could, learn to play like him. And that I've always been attracted to, instrumental rock because of what Satriani was doing, and I just fell in love with his music. That I decided, that is the direction that I want to go musically. Now, my music is just a little bit different than his because I have my own take on things, and I've kind of gone in my own direction. As far as style-wise, we're both very similar. The guitar, it's all instrumental. The guitar, is melodic and takes the place of the vocals of a band. And for me, that's more expressive, and there's a lot more going on with the music. My background, like Joe is more of a blues player. He comes from a lot of influences of a lot of different blues players. Even though he and I both our idol is Jimi Hendrix, and my idol is Jimi Hendrix too, and he's at the top of the list along with David Gilmour. My music, I'm more from the classical background, like neoclassical. Like I'm a complete Yngwie Malmsteen head. I've spent years studying classical music and neoclassical. And so when I say like that, I mean actually I have studied.
Can you define neoclassical for like the average layman that doesn't know what neoclassical music is?
If anybody has ever go on YouTube and pull up any kind of video or music of Yngwie Malmsteen, he is the pioneer of
Can you spell that name? Because I couldn't even spell that name. If you asked me to.
It's YNG. Wait a second. Yeah, YNGWIE. Yngwie Malmsteen. MALM as in Mary. STEEN. And his influences come from classical music, from Bach, Vivaldi, Paganini, Beethoven.
Rachmaninoff.
Yeah, so that's the music that I was really attracted to.
So Kevin, what makes your band, and why are you on Truth Funders today? Sort of what sort of paranormal influence? How has the paranormal influenced you and your music, and sort of how did you get involved in this genre?
Well, the name Pyramids on Mars was chosen very carefully because I have studied aliens and UFOs for the last 20 years, and I've been very heavily involved with the studies of extraterrestrials for many years. It's something that I think is the most important information, the most important thing ever in the human history that needs to be solved and understood. So I spent countless years studying it, and a few years ago, when I was listening to Virgil Donati, he's a drummer for. He does all kinds of stuff. Anyway, he had a song called "Pyramids on Mars," and that was it. I said, that's going to be my solo project. So I took "Pyramids on Mars" as a visionary, and also as a tool to help teach. I want to teach people and educate them in regards to the realities of our universe, how much stuff, the alternate reality that NASA has painted in regards to what they say is truth and what actually is truth. What is really on the moon?
When did you first become interested in these sorts of things, and what led you to wanting to combine your music with this specific field? I mean, did you have an experience as a younger child with a UFO or with an extraterrestrial or anything like that? Where did your whole infatuation with that come from?
I think actually it's kind of funny you say that because I've had two UFO experiences, and that's the reason why I contacted you.
Yeah, I had a feeling that you did. I can kind of suss that out. I get a vibe and I can tell.
Yeah.
So please, Like,
I think where I started really taking things really seriously was around 2000 when I was in another band called Firestorm, and the drummer and I are both heavily influenced by the whole UFO phenomenon. He actually quit the band to become a full-time crop circle researcher.
Wow,
He's also been involved in creating free energy devices, and I've seen him build a Tesla coil in his effing basement. So we were very influenced by this whole thing, like really, and studying it very intently. And I read lots of books from Buck Hopkins around that time, because the whole UFO phenomenon of alien abductions was the big hot topic at that time. And I was really interested to find out what was going on. We also had an experience that took place, and we're still trying to understand what happened. The first time was up at Rick's cottage, our singer, and up in Huntsville, and we decided to go for a swim at night. It was like a cloudless night, like 1,000 stars in the sky. The moon was full, and we look up at the sky, and we're just admiring the stars. And then something happened. It was something, I don't know whether it was the moon or whether it was something the same size as the moon. It was on fire, and it was coming right for us. And I could hear it grumbling, like coming right for us, and I thought that we were going to die. This thing just appeared from the sky and came from nowhere and came right at us, and all of a sudden, boom, it was just gone. And we all just went, whoa! What the heck was that? And to this day, we don't understand what it is we saw. I definitely heard it. I definitely saw it. It was the size of the moon. It was coming right at us. I don't know whether a moon had turned into something and came at us or something, but I really don't understand what it was that we saw. And I went under hypnosis about a month ago, and I still wasn't able to uncover if I have blacked out memory or time loss. I don't know. But what really has got me, the reason why I've come to you folks is because of what's transpired in the last year. When I created Pyramids of Mars back in 2011, that was my direction. That was my visual goal. That was what I heard in my head of the music that I wanted to write was very spacey type of music, and I use a lot of analog keyboards that they're used in the 70s by bands like Rush and Pink Floyd to create this kind of ambiance. And when you listen to my Pyramids of Mars, these instruments actually sound like something you'd hear if you landed on Mars. They just have this resonance to them, this analog resonance that's very warm sounding, and it resonates on these frequencies that I find is raising consciousness. But what happened last year completely changed my life. I was out on my deck and was facing towards the south when all of a sudden something appeared from my neighbors on my right. They had this big huge tree, and this object came into my line of vision. And at first I thought it was a meteor, because it was orange and red, and it looked like it was on fire, and it was coming across the sky. But then I realized, wait, no, this thing is moving way too slow for a meteor. It's not a meteor, because it was moving maybe about the speed of a helicopter. Then I looked closer at it, and it was disc shaped. It was definitely disc shaped. It was orange and red, and it looked like it was on fire. Now, when I realized what I was looking at, because I didn't know what I was looking at, it took me a long time to figure out what I was looking at. 6 months afterwards, I realized that what this thing was, it was covered in plasma. This object was streaming with plasma, and that's what I was seeing. But at the time, I didn't know what I was looking at. I was going in staring at it, going, "What is that thing? What the F is that?" And I'm seeing it go across the sky, and it came right across my line of vision. It was only maybe a kilometer in the air, a kilometer away. It was probably 40 or 50 feet in diameter, and then it started heading towards the south. And as its tail started getting closer, towards my back, it changed the way it looked. The object itself got darker in appearance, and then appeared to have this white, almost like an umbrella-like streaming thing surrounding it, just kind of vaporizing off of it. And I thought, is that what I saw with the colors going by? And I immediately, I was freaked out. I didn't know what I was looking at, and I didn't think I was looking at a UFO. It wasn't until after it left my sight that I thought, oh my God, I think I just saw a flying saucer. So I ended up filing a full report to MUFON, and they investigated and looked into it. But I didn't hear anything from them all. For the whole last year, I heard nothing. So then this year, my wife told me that there was a convention going on in Brantford called the Alien Cosmic Exhibition. And so I looked it up, and I said, okay, look, there's a whole bunch of guest speakers going here that are all, ufologists that are top in the field. Stanton Friedman was going, Grant Cameron was there, and a whole bunch of people. And when I saw Grant Cameron's presentation on musicians and aliens, the connection and downloads and consciousness, I'm like, oh my God, this is meant for me. This is who I am. There's something going on with me here. And so I go to this convention, and I briefly meet with Grant. I walk up to him. I hand him my CD, Pyramids of Mars. He looks down at it and says, "We got to talk." I'm like, "Yeah, we do." And so then later on, I went. This is later on. I went to MUFON, and I saw they had a booth set up, and I saw the guy Stu Bundy who had taken my report. I walk up to the table because they were busy. I just took out my drawings that I had drawn of my whole UFO and just put them on the table. They turn around, they look at the pictures, they look at me, and then surprised, they go, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're here." I'm like, "Really?" He says, "Yes, we're doing a presentation on you tomorrow." I'm like, "What?"
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, "What? I haven't heard from you guys in a year." And they said, "Yes, your story is one of the most credible stories that we have investigated, and we're doing a presentation on you tomorrow." I'm like,
would have been nice to know that. I mean,
that was exactly what I said. I said it would have been nice to have.
Yeah. So what? They're doing a presentation. Why didn't they contact you about it?
I don't know, and I still to this day I don't know. I asked them then the biggest question. I said, "Okay, this thing was huge. It went across a city of 500,000 people. How many other people reported it?" And they said, "That's the thing. You're the only one." And I'm like, "No, that's impossible. There's no way that I am the only one who saw this thing. It was a massive object. It was orange and red. It was disc-shaped. It was going across the sky very slowly over the city at 10:30 at night, when the city is very active." They said, "There's no effing way in the world that I'm the only person who saw this thing." They said, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you this. There are no other reports." And so then when I found out...
So then what makes yours one of the most credible that they've ever... why are they doing this big presentation on it? That doesn't add up.
I know I didn't actually get to see their presentation when they actually did it. So I don't know exactly everything they were saying, but I know that from other things that they investigate, they were able to debunk a lot of people's UFO claims that are actually stars that are in the sky or stuff like that. They debunk stuff. But my story, they said they couldn't debunk it because when he was asking me about how this object appeared, and when I was describing it as covered in plasma, and then when I said as it moved away, that image looked changed. He said that that right there tells us that your story checks out, because objects that are streaming in plasma, you can only see the plasma from certain angles. You definitely saw a physical craft in the sky that was moving across the sky.
Wow. All right, well, we need to take a quick break, and when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about the record and Pyramids on Mars and the direct influence of the whole UFO and experience that you had on the music. And if you wouldn't mind talking more about that, maybe we could even play a couple of your songs, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. You're listening to TruthFunders Radio live on the Inception Radio Network. My name is Art Webb. I'm with Mark Schwartz. Mark, give out the phone number real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure. It is 1-888-919-2355. If you want to talk to our guest today, you can call, or you want to talk to Art and me, go ahead and give us a call, 888-919-2355. 919-2355. And it is Wednesday the 29th. So if you're listening now, you are listening live.
888-919-2355. We'll be right back here on the Inception Radio Network. You're listening to TruthFunders Radio. Welcome back to TruthFunders Radio, live on the Inception Radio Network. My name is Art Webb. I'm with Mark Schwartz, the CEO of TruthFunders.com, and our guest this week is Kevin Estrella. He is from Canada, and he was just regaling us with his experience, and it has been quite a fascinating story so far. I mean, we're all just kind of sitting here on the edge of our seats listening to you tell us. And you said now during the break that this thing actually, there's more to it than you even let on to believe in before we went to break, Kevin.
Yes. Yeah, that is just the tip of the iceberg. When I finally met with Grant Cameron, who is a world-respected ufologist who's actually won...
Yeah, he was actually on the Art Bell show last night. It was a pretty interesting show.
Okay,
And
awesome.
just to remind everyone, how long ago was this that you had this experience that we're discussing?
It was August 21st, 2014, 10:30.
So you're coming
PM.
up on a year here in just under a month.
Yeah, and every night I go on my deck and I'm waiting for them to come back. I really am.
Yeah, I know how that is.
Do you want me to continue off from where I left off?
Please do,
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Then we'll get into the music.
Okay, all right. So I learned a lot from Grant Cameron in regards to he's getting an idea of basically what the whole thing is all about. Why are these aliens here? What is this all about? And what he has realized that there's a huge connection between musicians and aliens. There are tons of musicians who have come out open to talk about their alien experiences or how they're getting music through downloads, and they feel more like mediums when the music is just coming from somewhere else. And it's a whole consciousness thing. But there's actually a lot of musicians who have had direct contact with aliens. I mean, Sammy Hagar, he actually woke up from in the middle of the night where he realized that the information was being downloaded into his brain, and he actually heard people saying, he's waking up. And when he opened his eyes, there was like a huge light and he couldn't see, and then it went dark, and like he got a download. And he's an experiencer. David Bowie, he's an experiencer. He's seen tons of UFOs. Even the Foo Fighters, they actually saw a Ferris wheel-sized UFO during their first tour, and they took it as a good omen. Even Elvis Presley, he's had UFO experiences, and even when he was born, there was claimed that there's a blue light that was over his house. And it's claimed that he's met with aliens. So getting back to what happened with me, I was completely freaked out when I found out that I was the only person who saw this UFO, and it was confirmed factually by other radio stations I was on that there is absolutely no other record of this craft being sighted in that night. So then I go and talk to Grant Cameron and tell him the whole thing. And he told me straight out, he says, Kevin, you know what? This is completely, this is not uncommon. The same thing happened to John Lennon in New York City. John Lennon, when he had his UFO experience, it was like the whole entire city was shut down. He was yelling and screaming at people. Like this thing was close enough. He said he felt the breeze from it, and he was yelling and screaming for people to look at it. But it was like everybody else around him was shut down, and he was the only one who saw it. And
it's really interesting with John Lennon. He seems to show up in a lot of places when it comes to the paranormal. There is a guy in Germany who takes pictures. I believe it's Germany. It might be Sweden, but I'm pretty sure it's Germany. What he does is he takes pictures, random pictures, goes around. Any camera he takes a picture of, there is energy in the pictures, or people from like the deceased are on the other side, and it's crazy. There's a website. I'm sure I could find him if I Google him a little later in the radio show. But one series of photos he has is of John Lennon, and he saw John Lennon next to a star child star form. I don't know, but there's all these pictures. He's taken thousands of photos, and they've done news reports on him, all sorts of stuff. But John Lennon seems to be a constant that appears in the paranormal before life, and went during life and after life. Very, very interesting.
Wow, I definitely believe it. The stuff that Grant was telling me about, John Lennon, and there's this more information after information of even the name of the Beatles. He got. They say they got it from somebody who came to them on a pie, but I think that pie was actually a UFO. It was a flying saucer, because one of Paul McCartney's last albums that he released afterwards, after the Beatles, had that picture because it was related to a song that John Lennon wrote, and they showed a guy on a flying saucer. So what Grant was telling me was basically that this craft, me being the only person who saw it, it defies reality. Like there's no way that I'm the only person. So he said, Kevin, they're in direct contact with you. They are you are in communion with them. So I'm like, this is like unbelievable. I'm just completely freaked out by this point. But then I started realizing more and more that it is true, and my own music. I've been raising myself, like raising my own consciousness in my music. And some days I feel like I'm the reincarnation of Jimi Hendrix because of where I'm going in my head, of my consciousness, and the energies that I feel that I'm playing through my music. And Grant says this whole UFO thing is all about raising consciousness. That is what these aliens want us to do.
I agree with that, and I agree that music is really going to be the main ticket towards raising consciousness. I think that has a very big part to do with the whole raising consciousness campaign, I guess you could call it, that's going on right now. I couldn't agree more. So your music, the Pyramids on Mars music, does that have a direct influence from this experience, or are you feeling like you are receiving the music in the same sort of way that Sammy Hagar was, as you were telling about?
I feel like I'm receiving the music because honestly, I can hardly take credit for almost anything I write. I honestly, every time I finish writing the song,
I think that has a very big part to do with the whole raising consciousness campaign.
Your Art, you're sounding a little. You're sounding. Art,
the Pyramids on Mars music.
Art.
Oops. Did we lose?
I guess we must have lost Art. Yeah, but
That's Eric. That was Eric Williams. That wasn't me.
All right. So as you were saying, Art, we kind of missed that whole entire thing that you were saying.
I was saying that. Sorry about that. I was saying that. I was asking about whether or not the music was directly influenced from that experience, or if it was more being, presented to you as in the way Sammy Hagar had described it as well.
Yeah,
you were saying
it's more presented to me like I'm getting music through dreams, and the song Dream Division, that was exactly like that. I can't take really credit for this song because I didn't really write it. And what I mean by that is I had this dream where I was watching some interviewer interviewing Joe Satriani, and Joe Satriani is sitting at a recording console, and he's talking about some new album that he's working on. They're asking, "Oh, can you got any tracks you can play for us?" He says, "Yeah, I got this song that we just recorded, just some bed tracks," and starts playing this song, and the song got more and more interesting as it starts off with the guitar and the bass joins in and then the drums join in, and they're all doing something completely different, but it all works together like a clock. And I thought, oh my God, this sounds so cool. I wish I could write something like this. And then I realized in my dream, wait a second, I'm dreaming. This song isn't even written. Joe didn't write this song. I wake myself up, I got a piece of paper, and I write down all the tracking that I heard. And the Dream Division, what you hear there for the first minute of the song, is exactly how I heard it in my dream.
Eric, what the hell is happening?
Wow.
Wow, that's it. we're pulling in aliens from other Skypes, I guess.
Eric, are you there? Is that Eric? Eric, are you on with us, or is it just noises coming from you?
Kevin?
Yeah.
Kevin's
Kevin's
well, how about we play one of Kevin's Pyramids on Mars songs, and we'll deal with this.
Well, why don't we play that song he's talking about right
there?
Play
Dream Division, yeah.
Can you, MJ, can we play Dream Division?
About 30 seconds of it.
All right, he says yes. Why don't we play Dream Division? And I think I kind of want to hear the whole thing, just because of, the whole thing being 30 seconds of it wasn't downloaded, but the entire thing was. So.
How about we compromise, because we have other ones. So, let's say a minute.
Okay, fine.
All right. So then, without further ado, if MJ has Dream Division ready, let's go ahead and roll it.
That is Kevin Estrella's Pyramids on Mars. And I think we might have come in a little bit early there, Kevin. Did you just say you missed the chorus?
You missed the chorus.
Sorry about that. Well, if people want to check out the record, where can they get it, first and foremost?
You can get it at www.pyramidsonmars.com.
And is it available via iTunes or anything like that as well, or just
not yet? It's available as a CD. You can purchase the CD it's at
and that's
right
all
now,
at pyramidsonmars.com.
Yes, at pyramidsonmars.com. You can listen to the whole CD from the website. Right now, it's at a pre-release because the CD has not been officially released, and you can get it for $6.99 currently.
Cool, and we're also going to be adding it to TruthFunders as the TruthFunders project.
That's right.
That'll be within the next week or so. So if you want to get it there, you can get it there as well. Otherwise, just go to www.pyramidsonmars.com. So that's really cool. So I definitely heard the Joe Satriani influence, without a doubt. And so let me ask you, what makes you feel that you are reaching, or aliens are sort of reaching into you for your music and coming through your dreams? What is it that and that they're giving you the influence for your music? What is it? What's the feeling, or how do you feel connected to that other side?
Well, it was a lot from how Grant was describing the stuff that he'd been reading about how other musicians come up with, or getting their ideas of music, and how these ideas just seem to be coming through them, and they almost feel like mediums, like they're almost not writing their own music. Like Michael Jackson says he can hardly take any credit for anything he does because he feels like a medium himself, and the music just flying, just flows through him. For me, I honestly every time I finish writing his song, I feel like I'm just an artist who's been given a black and like a blank canvas with a black outline, and I'm just sitting behind there just going color by numbers like a child, like the fours represent red, the sevens represent blue, and the song just writes itself. Really, I just feel like I'm behind the stage, just kind of doing it. The song is already written, and I just feel like I'm on autopilot. And when the song is all done, it's just like, wow. And the best songs, as seems to be with a lot of other musicians, the best songs are the ones that are written spontaneously, really quickly. So, usually songs that come together within a few minutes or very, very quickly and are put together. My songs will be finished. My best songs will be written, all the instruments done, mixed and mastered within 3 to 5 days. And keep in mind that I play all the instruments on my album. I do all the guitars, I play bass, keyboards, I do all the drums. So I think it's pretty outstanding to be able to write a complete song and have it completely finished and mastered within that short of a period of time. And
do you master everything yourself? Do you produce it all?
I produce everything and I master it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So you feel that you're more of the vessel. Well, do you have another track that we could check out?
Sure. One of my favorites is Heaven's Gate.
All right. Well,
and this one is it's my homage to Iron Maiden.
Cool. And so give us a little background to this song, and why is it called Heaven's Gate?
It was influenced by listening to Iron Maiden's album Summer in Time. A friend of mine was listening to Iron Maiden Summer in Time. I hadn't heard it for a long time, and I just thought, man, I just wish I could write something like Iron Maiden. And I thought, oh wait, I'm going to write a song in the style of Iron Maiden. And the song just came together. It just went boom, 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 boom. And it was very easy to write.
All right, so this is Heaven's Gate by Pyramids on Mars. Go ahead and shoot that, MJ.
Heaven's Gate. My name is Art Webb. I am with Mark Schwartz. We are joined by Kevin Estrella. When we get back from the break, why don't we talk about Kevin's campaign a little bit, Mark? How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, you're listening to TruthFunders Radio. We will be right back. We're with Kevin Estrella. He is Pyramids on Mars. Go to www.pyramidsonmars.com. Check out his music. A lot of cool stuff he's been showcasing us for this particular episode of the show, and I would like to maybe jump into a little bit more of his music and a little bit more of his experiences when we get back, as well as his TruthFunders campaign, because that's a big, important part of why he's on the show with us as well. So we will be back in just a moment. You're listening to TruthFunders Radio on IRN. Talk to you in a few.
TruthFunders Radio on the Inception Radio Network.
You are listening to the TruthFunders live radio show on the Inception Radio Network. It must be Wednesday. It must be after the top of the hour, because this is about the time we come back from that break every single Wednesday. Isn't that right, Mark?
It is right.
Right about
every
this time.
Wednesday.
What the hell are we doing? We're doing this right here. It's pretty freaking freaky, if you ask me.
It's a pretty cool, from ghosts and the paranormal to removing spirits to talking to other radio show hosts and Heidi Hollis to hearing music that's been inspired by aliens.
Holly Heides.
Is that what I said? Heidi Hollis. Heidi Hollis.
You said it right. I just like to screw it up because it's
yeah. You always screw it up.
Yeah, Heidi Hollis or Holly Heidi. Hey, anyway, Kevin, thanks so much for coming on the show. By the way, we've really enjoyed your story so far. I want to know what your kind of thoughts and perceptions are on the whole ancient aliens concept. Do you believe that the Earth is just a seeded, experiment from aliens in the ancient past, or how do you perceive all that, and how does that all kind of fall into place with what you think is going on currently with the higher consciousness campaign and the raising up and all the stuff that you are currently using your music to communicate?
Well, I'm definitely a believer of the ancient alien theory, and that I honestly think that we were either seeded or we are. We have ancestors who have, from space basically, and that I believe the whole Anunnaki and genetically altering our DNA, and that we are, star children to a certain extent. But when you find out, there's in the history of humans, there's so many things that just don't make any sense that follow linear timelines, finding all these artifacts that are found buried in coal. That shouldn't belong in coal, that are millions of years old. Finding, screws buried in rocks that are millions of years old. Even microchips that are found buried in rocks. That these things aren't supposed to be there, but they do exist. And from talking to Grant and listening to what he has to say, he's been putting the pieces together for the last, since the 70s, for the last 40 years. And what he says really makes sense, that, it's all about it's about raising consciousness. And it came to his light when talking to people who have actually flown the craft. They've been in the craft and flown it. And he asked, well, how do you fly a UFO? He says, well, you fly it with your mind. You fly it with your mind. And then all of a sudden he got a download and everything made sense to him, that it's all about consciousness, because these aliens are telepathic. They are their brains are more advanced than ours, and a lot of it has to do with the right brain, the creative brain, the brain that's connected with oneness, with God, with ESP. This is where everything exists. This is where we have almost like this holographic memory, and when you're able to silence the analytical brain, the left brain, then the right brain does what it's supposed to do naturally, and everything comes through it and flows. And that's where I think the whole thing with why musicians get this information, they feel like they're getting music from somewhere else, is because we are tapping into this energy. And I've tapped into it, and I honestly, I remember exactly when I was enlightened, when I first was enlightened, when I was in university, and I was playing air guitar, listening to Jimi Hendrix live at Monterey, and it was the guitar solo of Foxy Lady, and all of a sudden I hit this nirvana, and I felt this oneness with the universe, and I never felt anything like it before. And it was that moment when I realized this this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be, and that's a state of mind that I try and strive for every time I play guitar and get into it. And it's just, he was onto something, and I just felt it, and that's what I strive for. And honestly, I really think that that's the reason why these extraterrestrials are so interested in me, and why I was the only one who saw this thing, was because they're trying to tell me that what I'm doing is the right, and what I'm supposed to be doing is continuing to do what I'm doing through my music, raising consciousness in my own mind, and through spreading the word through my music with Pyramids on Mars, and getting people to wake up to, this is our reality, this is real. The moon, there's moon bases, there's alien bases on the moon, there's pyramids on Mars, there was a civilization on Mars, there's all kinds of anomalies throughout our entire universe. Aliens have been here for a long time, and they're patient. They'll wait another 1,000 years for us to get to the level where they want us to reach. They don't care. The time is not an issue to them. They've been around for millions of years. They don't care how long it takes us for us to do it. They're just not going to land on the president, on the White House, and say, "Hello, we're here. Is this what you guys have to do?" It doesn't work that way. And Grant realizes it. It's like the United States walking into Iraq thinking they can change everything. You can't do it by force, because it just doesn't work. You have to do it yourself. And I think it's part of my job, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's why they're talking to me, telling me to keep doing what I'm doing. So, okay, I have a mission in life. That's what I have to do.
So this is maybe it's a little off topic, but I'm just curious about your thoughts, because you had mentioned Jimi Hendrix, and he's one of your, influences. What are your thoughts on the 27 Club? Do you think there's any conspiracy there? The 27 Club, for people who don't know, is, these incredible musicians who all seem to die at the age of 27. You have Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain. Who else do we have? We have Brad Knoll from Sublime. I'm sure you could think of a few others, Art.
Didn't really realize that.
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse is one of them. There's a shit ton. There's a giant list. It goes on. Elliott Smith was one of them. The list goes on and on about musicians who have died at that age. And there's a lot of speculation even that Jimi Hendrix himself was extraterrestrial in being or nature at the time that he was alive. But I don't know a lot about that speculation. I do think that a lot of these musicians, Michael Jackson clearly was a space alien. I don't know if you guys ever looked at him, but
he was definitely part alien. The way he can move, I always thought he was a robot, for real, a real life robot.
Space alien, man.
He thinks that he was an alien.
I wouldn't put it past him to have actually been one, to be completely honest with you, because the dude was, the way he could write music was unlike anybody that came before him or has been, after him since.
And the list goes on and on in regards to people who either are experiencers or, it's crazy. Ace Frehley from Kiss. Frehley from Kiss. He was abducted. One of my favorites, Al Jurgensen from Ministry. He's clearly claimed that he's been abducted by aliens several times, and he still remembers chasing aliens out of his bedroom, screaming at them, "Get out!" and he couldn't wake up his wife. He's a contactee.
Ace Frehley as well, from Kiss.
That's what he just said.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Then I second that.
The Moody Blues. Grant Cameron goes on about the Moody Blues and how they actually remember it being before they were even born, that they all were together and they agreed that they were going to be a band when they, in their new life, and write about the alien experience. And they actually were all abducted too.
Wow.
And it was, they were, they lost 3 hours time on a tour, and they were all clearly abducted.
There's something about the Moody Blues. I like the Moody Blues. I've got them on vinyl. I just got them on vinyl, actually. Some old school stuff. I never thought they sounded anything like Moody Blues. I just have to throw that out there. Nothing is Moody Blues about them. And maybe that was just their clever title, but got to throw that out there.
Did you play all the instruments on your record, Kevin, or did you have other people contribute as well?
No, I play all the instruments.
So you played the drums. Was it all done through like MIDI based stuff, like the drums and
Actually,
keys and all
the drums, I have to admit, I programmed them. But every single beat is programmed in. Like I
Right.
wrote every single beat on
Right,
the
right, right.
drums.
No, and look, there's more people that do that now than don't. A lot of drums are programmed. Most people would be surprised by how many drums are programmed on records these days.
Yeah.
Versus otherwise, but you play every single part on that record. You can tell because you can tell that there's a certain cohesive thought process behind the whole thing that feels very, very fleshed out in such a way that there's not one thing that isn't there because it isn't supposed to be. Every note feels like it was deliberately placed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think we have one last song to play, and this will be the last song for the show as well. And what's the name of this song in the arsenal, Kevin?
It's probably Battle for Rome.
It is Battle for Rome. MJ,
explain. Well, I want to explain behind Battle for Rome what the meaning of that one is.
It's actually I saw the Xbox One video game trailer for the game Rise, Son of Rome, and I was so influenced by that Xbox trailer that I wanted to write a song that was based on that game. So if you see the trailer and then you listen to the song, you're like, oh yeah, that just completely fits the game.
All right, go ahead and fire that off, MJ. Battle for Rome is the name of that one. It is from our guest Kevin Estrella on the live TruthFunders radio show. Kevin has a TruthFunders campaign that is set to launch within the coming week here, correct?
Yes, so it's going to be coming up, and I believe it's not too much different from what Kevin is doing and selling on his website, but it also is coming directly from TruthFunders so that people can reach out to him. They can contact him through us if they like, or they could donate to his TruthFunders campaign. He's going to be raising a little money, selling his CD, selling other CDs as well, right, Kevin? What's your plan for the TruthFunders campaign?
Well, I got three packages. If you purchase the Echo Cosmic CD, which is my brand new one, I will give you a free download of my debut CD to go along with it. So you're getting 2 CDs for the price of one. And I think that's an awesome deal.
That is awesome.
Here's the next one. If you purchase Echo Cosmic and the debut CD, I'm going to throw in a Pyramids on Mars coffee mug.
That's cool. Definitely. I'm all about the swag at Truth
Yeah.
Funders. It's like the swag is awesome.
And then
you
then I had another one. This is the best package. If you purchase an Echo Cosmic, the CD, and a T-shirt, I'm going to throw in the free live DVD that also includes the debut CD.
Sweet.
That's a huge package.
And how much is that one going for?
That geez, so that is. Oh, hang on a sec. I don't even.
No worries.
Yeah,
Take your time.
$6.99 for the CD, and then I think a T-shirt is $30. Yeah, so for 36, and then you're getting $25 DVD and debut CD free.
And the live DVD, is that from a live concert?
That's a live concert.
So you
That's
do have
awesome.
so you have live musicians that you play with live, or
Yes. Yep.
awesome.
Very, very cool. Well, Kevin, we will go ahead and we will launch that as soon as possible within the next week or so. And next week before the show, we'll make sure to mention it and mention a bunch of our different projects that we have up next week. So we'll go ahead and, in the meantime, visit Kevin's website. If you go to www.pyramidsonmars, find out more about him, listen to the whole album. You can't go wrong. Currently they're streaming it for free, so it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was saying while we were listening to that last one that I could just eat a fistful of mushrooms and listen to this stuff all day, and that might be on my.
Of course you could, Art.
Of course, because that's the type of music it speaks to when you're on mushrooms. I mean, it speaks to when you're not on mushrooms, but definitely when you're on mushrooms too.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, and we'll be in touch. And so go ahead, go to his website and check out the Truth Funders campaign. It's coming up in the next week or so. We will be reminding you next week.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, Kevin, and we will talk to you. Let's catch up in a few weeks, and you could kind of let us know how your campaign's going.
Awesome.
All right,
Definitely
thanks, Kevin.
will do.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.
Talk soon.
All right, cheers.
Take care.
All right, cheers. All right, bye. Hey, Mark, just in the last couple minutes of the show here, I want to tell you that heat makes you sound like a Muppet. Did you know that?
Really? I sound like a Muppet?
You totally sound like a Muppet. This whole show, you've sounded like a Muppet. I don't know what it is about the heat that you're in right now, but your voice is almost cracking like you're on puberty or something. You're going through puberty.
It's like an octave higher?
Yeah, doing this little Muppet thing. I've tried the whole show not to laugh.
Am I down in Fraggle Rock?
If it's the sweating or what, but it's making you crack. It's been the funniest thing to listen to, but not to bully you or anything like that. But you do kind of sound like a Muppet.
I feel bullied.
It's the sun that's
man.
bullying you right now. He's bullying the crap out of you.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I still sound like a Muppet right now?
Maybe you sound a little better. For those of you that, a little behind the curtain here sort of moment, Mark has been, during the breaks, running outside to be outside and just enjoy not being inside the room that he's in right now because he is so hot. Remember when I sent you that picture of myself all sweaty in my car?
I do. I can't. Of course I do.
You should take a similar picture and post that as well so we can see how much you're suffering for the show.
Exactly.
Well, hey, look, think about it. 1 week from now, you're going to be in Hawaii just, living the dream, basically. I mean,
oh, man, and I might join you for that. If not, you'll be on your own, Art. But if I do join, even if it's for like a couple minutes or whatever it might be, I will go ahead and be
nowhere near the show next week. I guarantee it.
I will definitely make sure you say aloha or ahalo. And I'll be eating some pineapple on the beach.
I love hey man, I love pineapple. Pineapple's the best. You eat all the pineapple you can while you're over there. Matter of fact, bring me some pineapple back. Even though I could probably just go to the store. And, what are you doing? What's happening? Are you dying?
What's that?
What are you doing?
My voice is cracking. I'm trying to drink water. Oh man, it's the heat. I'm dying, man.
Clearly, you're having a rough time over there. I guess we should probably bow out then because
let's bow out.
Sounds like you're suffering. So thank you so much for listening to Truth Funders Radio live on the Inception Radio Network. Go to truthfunders.com. All sorts of campaigns up there for you. Kevin Estrella's will be up there in about a week's time. You can support his Pyramids on Mars musical.
It was pretty good. I actually really liked that last song. He should be writing songs for video games.
He should be writing songs for video games. That's a good point. And maybe that's something we can look into hooking him up with down the line. So without further ado, we will bow out just a few minutes early here. And I just got a text message from my friend that said I just need to be high all the time. So I'm going to go investigate what that means. And I will talk to you guys next week.
All right. For Truth Funders, this is Mark. Don't forget to go to our website, www.truthfunders.com. Get your campaign funded. Art, take it away.
All right. We'll talk to you next week. We'll be this after back. Bye-bye.
Truth Funders Radio on the Inception Radio Network.